Okay, so let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive into a really simple and maybe deeply cynical playbook.
Right.
It's a set of rules that pretty much every leader follows, whether you're a president or, a startup CEO.
And the central idea here really flips political science on its head.
It does. It says that it doesn't matter if you're in a democracy or a dictatorship. That's not the important part.
No, not at all. It's all about one number, the size of the support group you absolutely need to survive.
So we're not talking about all potential voters, what the sources call the
Or
interchangeables.
even the people who officially vote.
Yeah,
We're focused on one group, the essentials.
the winning coalition.
Exactly, the small inner circle whose loyalty you just cannot lose.
And the size of that group, it dictates everything, doesn't it?
It does. If it's small, you give out lavish private perks. If it's large, you have to provide, broad public benefits. It's just a ruthless system of incentives.
For a perfect example of a small coalition, you have to look at the city of Bell, California. This was, back in 2010?
A shocking case study.
I mean, get this. The city manager, Robert Rizzo, was owed nearly $800,000 a year. Legally.
That's more than double the U.S. president's salary at the time.
How is that even remotely possible?
It wasn't about being possible. It was about political efficiency. Look, the city council set his salary right.
Okay.
And those council members were elected by a tiny, tiny group of people. Sometimes less than 13% of registered voters was enough to win a seat.
So Rizzo's survival was only dependent on keeping that handful of council members happy. The essentials.
Exactly. So his massive salary, their own six-figure pay packages, that was just the cost of doing business.
The ultimate private reward.
Funded by property taxes that were about 50% higher than in towns right next door. He lasted 17 years. Because when your coalition is that small, corruption is just the most direct path to staying in charge.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me this is universal, that someone like, say, Louis XIV, the Sun King, is basically running a 17th century version of the city of Bell.
It's the same engine, just, on a much grander scale.
That seems like a stretch.
But it's not. No leader, not even one who said, "I am the state," actually stands alone. Louis XIV survived for 72 years by constantly managing an inner circle of nobles.
Okay.
He kept them rich, gave them those private favors, but, and this is key, he also made sure they were all easily replaceable. If their loyalty wavered, they were out. That's how he stayed on top.
I see. And this pattern pops up in modern organizations too, right? The sources bring up the International Olympic Committee.
The IOC is a classic small coalition operation. This model explains the alleged corruption perfectly.
So bidding cities weren't really competing on the quality of their stadiums or facilities,
Yeah.
which would be a public good.
No, they were competing with private bribes, sometimes $100,000, $200,000 per vote for an IOC official.
So if you wanted to fix that, to force them to focus on, say, building better tracks, you'd have to expand that winning coalition.
You would have to, because if suddenly thousands of Olympians could vote, you can't afford to bribe them all. It's too expensive.
So you're forced to compete on public goods instead.
Exactly. It just boils down to a brutal calculus of survival. In small coalition systems, dictatorships, autocracies, Bell, California leaders tax heavily to fund private rewards for their cronies.
Whereas in large coalition systems, like a functioning democracy, they have to deliver things like better health care or clean water.
Because that's the only way to keep the huge number of essentials happy enough to keep you in power.
It's a fascinating lens to look through.
It is. And when you think about Louis XIV surviving all those years by managing his inner circle, it reminds us that a leader's survival depends on being able to deliver future rewards. So it poses a question for you, listening right now.
What vulnerabilities are you creating for yourself if your own winning coalition, your key team members, your board, is just a little too small?